Despite the title of today's show, I don't want you to worry about me. Du hasst mich. You hate me. It is a lie that my mind tells me pretty much any time I interact with any person in any way, shape, or form. Yesterday, I had to deal with Telstra, phone company, and they've been jerking us around. It really is a frustrating experience dealing with them. And I lost my cool at one stage. And the fact of the matter is that I'm often at risk of losing my cool because I come into any face to face reaction or face to phone reaction with the preconceived notion that you hate me. My mental illness tries to convince me every second of every day that every person around me hates me. My mind is lying to me. But man, it's a lie that's hard to challenge. Look, we're going to unpack that today on STP. Let's dive in. Let's see what happens. Welcome to Shattered the Podcast. STP is the story of my journey from the depths of mental illness to a place where I could live again. Du hasst mich. You hate me. It's actually one of my favorite songs. It's a song that my kids don't like me to play for obvious reasons. It is very heavy, and I do tend to get quite excited when I'm watching it, which my kids don't like because it often involves shaking them and getting them to do some headbanging with me. But it's a song with a meaning that has become more true to me now that I live with mental illness and have done for 15 years. Every single person I come into contact with, every single person that I interview, every single person that I speak to in schools, in classes, my mind is telling me that they hate me. Now, in the bad old days, this led to some pretty poor situations because anytime somebody said or did something that was contrary to what I wanted or needed or felt at the moment, I would react badly. And it's because there's been this narrative in my head. It's got nothing to do with the person that I'm talking to. It's got nothing to do with you, the listener. But if you could hear what's going on in the back of my mind, even while I'm doing this podcast, this is a waste of time. People don't care about you. People don't want to listen to you. People think that you are hopeless and pathetic. This is what my mind tells me pretty much every moment that I'm anywhere except for home. When I'm at home, I know that there's one person that loves me unconditionally. And it's not my cat, it's my wife. I feel safe with her. When I think that she's mad at me, when that thought in my head goes, okay, she hates you, I'm able to say, sweetheart, what's going on? Are you mad at me? Did I do something? She's able to instantly put my mind at ease. And even better, I believe her when she says it. When you walk around believing that everybody in the world hates you for good reason, you're not walking around feeling paranoid. You don't know why people are after you. You don't know if people hate you. You know it for a 100% fact that they hate you. And if they don't hate you, it's because they don't know you well enough to know that they should hate you. Imagine walking around with that chip on your shoulder. No wonder people have this fear of people with mental illness, even though it's completely unfounded, because they see a temper tantrum, they see an outburst, And they don't instantly go, wow, this person is suffering. They think, man, this guy's a jerk. I did it. Went into the public service. I was struggling. My mental health was just killing me at the time. And a woman in the workplace just went Burko one day. Yeah, she just lost it. She just, "Meh, meh, 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 meh." Later on, I got in trouble for something. I can't remember what it was, but I, I, I brought up this woman. I said, hang on, I'm getting in trouble for this. And this woman went Burko and she didn't get into trouble, but I am. And manager said, mate, she's dealing with mental illness. Give her a break. The last thing that would have occurred to me is that this woman had mental illness. And this is while I was struggling. You hate me. It's so sad that so many of us with mental illness walk around with that assumption that you hate me, that every time you think of me, it makes you sick. There's a couple of things that people do. There's something called the searchlight effect. They're just starting to research this more seriously now, but every single one of us walks around with a narrative in our head, and we often believe that people are looking at us and uh, judging us more often than they actually are. So what they did is they got a guy to wear a Barry, or a bunch of people to wear a Barry Manilow shirt and walk through a campus or a situation. They overinflated the amount of times that people were scrutinizing them uh, massively. It was like 100% difference. They thought they had something on them that people would judge them by. So they assumed that people were looking at them and judging them, and really specifically drilling down into the thought that they as a person must be weird or broken or damaged because they're wearing a Barry Manilow shirt. They then interviewed the crowd, and the very few people had noticed the shirt. And if they had, it was more just in passing. It's like, oh, there's a Barry Manilow shirt. But the spotlight effect told the people wearing them, the shirts, that everybody was judging them. And they overinflated the amount of people that actually looked at them by numbers that were in the hundreds. Like they said they were noticed 130 times, got a clicker in their pocket. Oh, this person's judging me. This person's judging me. And it was hyperinflated. So we walk around with this searchlight effect. When you've got a mental illness, you've got a lot of introspection. You're constantly thinking about how you're feeling, and you assume that people outside of your head are privy to these conversations, these thoughts inside your mind, even though they have no idea, even though they could care less about you. They might glance at you, and that's the only interaction they'll ever have with you because they don't notice you. They don't want to engage with you. They don't care to. They don't need to. It's not their job to. It's not the place that they want to. And yet we walk around with this idea that people are constantly judging us. In my case, and many people with mental illness, it is, you hate me. Take one look at me, you know everything about me, and you hate me. So, what do you do about this? The not mentally ill side of me goes, stop being so up yourself and have a bit of humble pie. You're not the center of the universe. Well, you aren't, but you kind of are. You are your universe. You are the only thing that you have total 100% control over. So in a kind of way, you are the center of your universe. And partly that is correct. Realizing that people aren't walking around judging you, people aren't seeing you and coming to conclusions, but you've got the lie inside your head, and it's your own head that's lying to you. If your wife or your daughter or a friend or somebody you don't know comes and lies to you, and you know it's a lie, you can combat it. You can just go, That's not true." But when it's your own head that's lying to you, that's saying everybody hates you, it's so much harder to contradict that thought. And often thoughts are like water in a stream. They flow through, and once it flows through, it's gone. And if you're not paying attention, that thought comes and it goes, and you haven't even registered that it's been there. It's just a fact. I need to breathe. Yeah, I get that. I hate myself. I get that. Everybody hates me. And it's like this water in a stream. And unless you catch those thoughts, unless you're mindful and you go, no, hang on, I'm not going to let that thought just drift down into my subconscious. I'm going to challenge it. But how do you challenge it? For me, it was finding somebody that I trust implicitly. Psychologists, psychiatrists, my wife. I had to build a way to communicate with them and a way to believe that what they say is the truth. So that when I walk up to my wife after a day of hearing everybody hates you, I can look at her and I go, she hates you, and I can challenge that thought. I can catch that thought. Like that drop of water in the stream, just catch it and go, no, that is wrong. That's not supposed to be there. It's like a drop of oil in the stream. That drop of oil is not supposed to be there. It's not in the right place. It may have a function and a purpose somewhere else, but it's not in its right place. It's not doing what you need to do. It's polluting your thinking. And you need to recognize it and you need to do something to get rid of it. For me, it was trusting other people outside of my head implicitly, understanding that they told me the 100% unvarnished truth when I needed them to, and that I believed them. Find ways to be mindful, find ways to recognize and challenge those random thoughts, the oil in the stream of your thinking, and do something about it. Don't just let it lie and go, okay, there's a drip of oil in my water, it's okay. No, you need to do something about it. You need to recognize it. If you just ignore it, it's not going to go away. Recognize it, see it for what it is, challenge it, and find others to help you challenge that thought processes as well. I know you don't hate me, and I'm glad of that fact. I appreciate you. Have a great week. I will talk to you again next week. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for joining us on Shattered the Podcast. I'm Mark. Special thanks to my producer, Meredith Brosnan, and also to Torian, Kevin, and Lorraine. And we can't forget the amazing band Adelaide, who let us use their song as our theme. For more information, check us out on all your socials, STP Shattered the Podcast.